Hey guys, Fred and Stack here, and welcome to a mod preview for the enhanced Teutonic patch for the Teutonic DLC. Now this mod is a mod that is mainly made by Mergel, and me and Arazef did a few small little changes, but the main groundwork was done by Mergel himself. Mergel pretty much did everything for this mod. Me and Arazef did some changes, and I'll explain them in a second. But essentially Mergel is the reason this mod exists. Arazef fixed the Norwegian recruitment bug. When you play as Norway in the normal campaign, they can't recruit anything. They can't recruit units. They can't actually recruit units. They can recruit agents and build buildings, but they can't recruit any actual units. And that's to do with the whole Kalmar Union script and all that. I actually went ahead and changed the turns per year to 6 turns per year, which is a personal favourite of mine because I like to have my characters last a bit longer than normal 2 turns per year, where your family members die very fast. So, and I like to have a bit of time to almost like role play my characters a bit. And that's a personal thing I've done myself. Another thing is I've changed the campaign and battle AI to that of the Skynet AI, which is an AI that is used by using the Divide and Conquer and other third age mods and Europa Barbarorum 2. And I think a few other mods use it as well. So yeah, now the whole reason this mod is on the ModDB page that I've recently made is simply just because I wanted to try out ModDB and see if it will be a place in future where I will put other mods of mine. When I say other mods, I mean like small little patches or small little sub mods, like adding like custom generals, chains turns per year or something like that, or adding campaign AI, something like that. So I thought I'd try out ModDB. I don't really know if I feel that comfortable in ModDB. I mean, it's really a place for like proper mods, not really patches and small little sub mods. Really, I don't know. I'm very half and half about that. But I think I will probably just keep my little sub mods to my Google Drive page. I may even just buy the Google Drive thing and have like 2 terabytes of storage and stuff or something like that. See what happens with that. But anyway, this mod, I felt like it was fitting to be on ModDB because it is actually a overhaul of the Teutonic DLC, so it has some sense. Is there anything else I really need to mention? I'm looking at the ModDB page at the description to check if there's anything else I need to really mention. I don't think there is really, other than the installation thing, and that's about it. But you would have already seen the install guide by now. So anyway, we get straight right into it. Now I'll go through. I would like to have a look at the Swedish/Norwegian roster. I'll talk a bit about that later on. Let's go for the late period. Now, basically, what this mod adds in is it makes some changes to all the factions, like the starting positions, etc. One big change is Norway. Now, Norway is a playable faction. However, they are sort of been reskinned to Sweden. And I'll show a bit more about that later on. But for now, I'll show the Norwegian roster. I don't know if it's been changed that much, but I figured I'd show it anyway. Because usually you can't play as the Norwegians in the Teutonic mod anyway. So, may as well show you. There's been no other unit changes, as far as I know, to any other factions. So, actually, let's go the all period. Because I don't know how... Because it's a bit odd that time, sometimes. Okay. So as you can see, Sweden or /Norway have your normal dismounted field knights, you've got the footmen, so a roster very similar to that of Denmark in this DLC. So that is sort of the bases there. And obviously you've got different cavalry and different skins, I think, if you compare it to the Norwegian roster over on the Britannia DLC. But that is literally all I can really point out for that. And then when you go to Teutonic campaign, which is where you want to find the factions, all the factions are, some of the factions you may remember being unlockable. All these factions here are just all playable. So Teutonic Order, Lithuania, Denmark, Novgorod, Poland, the Holy Roman Empire, and Norway. Now the maps haven't been changed to completely, actually accurately show you the different strat models and stuff. There's one thing about this mod, and I'll go into the campaign now, is that we haven't actually they're going to have the same campaign video thing. But you'll notice that we haven't unpacked the file, and this isn't a decision made by myself, this is simply a decision made by Murgle because he was the one who made the mod. And obviously, this mod originally actually came from Discord and from the Hot Season Hub. And until I actually thought, you know what, I might try and port this over to... Because I'm actually hosting a hot seat for this mod. And as you can see by this Teutonic 1 term, which is the first term I did. That I started up a few days ago, as you can see. And I figured ModDB is a lot easier place just for people to install. Rather than having to, like, use up my Google Drive. Obviously, I could have just, like, I could have just made the files a bit smaller, which is something I'll do in the future, but I just wanted to try ModDB and see what it's like and see if it was something was worth doing. So as you can see, Norway is still called Norway. They're not going to be renamed to Sweden. That's because you have to, like, unpack the Teutonic folder. Again, this was a decision. I could have just done it myself. However, I decided not to. This was a decision done by Murgle, and I let Murgle just let it. To be honest, I don't really care. In a hot seat, you can rename Norway to Sweden if you want to. Like, that's not a massive big deal. To me, this is just a little patch and fun little patch. It's not really... I wouldn't really say it's really made for single player, really. I mean, you can play a single player campaign. Don't get me wrong. However, I would say this is really made for hot seats, really. But that's up to you. You can... I mean, the mods are it's on ModDB. You can play it single player. You can play it in hot seat. It's entirely up to you. But anyway, I will show you the family trees. The family trees have been done very similar. I think Denmark's a bit different. I think a few of them are a bit different. And obviously there are the key factions that do not have family trees. Obviously your faction leader is King Haakon. And then you have Prince Magnus. And that's basically it for the family tree. And much as we've done, we sort of balanced it out. I mean, you have to speak to Murgle about the full proper details and what he worked on and why he did some things, etc. But as you can see, Norway can recruit, and all the settlements. Some settlements have been changed to castles instead of, I think, if I remember correctly, Tingvala was a village. That's now completely changed to a castle. I think Göteborg was a town, and that's been changed to a fortress. So a lot of balances have been put in motion, which is good, and is something I quite like. But so yeah, obviously you remember Norway is normally like a red, sort of darker red coloring. Excuse me. But we have opted to change them obviously to a fitting color, which is blue and yellow, which is Sweden in a way, which is sort of the Sweden, I guess the Sweden color scheme now really nowadays. So as you can see, I very much like this. Well, we got toggle flow, and I'll show you a bit. I'll give you a bit more in-depth look at everything. Oh. So you can see there are no rebel settlements on the map. They've all been given to a faction, and yeah, there's anything else I want to show you. There's been no traits or anything. It's not a proper detailed mod. It's just, how can I put this? It's just for fun, really. That's it. It's going to be no future updates will be coming out for this mod at all, unless Murgle decides to completely change it and add in a bunch of different factions, and that's up to him. But I don't think he will. But that's what I know. I don't think he will personally. But if he does, he does. That could be complete. I could eat my words. I apologize for my stuttering. I don't know what that's about. Maybe I'm just tired. Maybe. Guess that's what working does to you. Denmark, as you can see, has been still have Roskilde as their capital. They have just over half stack in there. They control these two settlements, and they have also been given Akershus and Agder. And that's sort of just to balance them out a little bit. Obviously, again, this is made for hot seating, so balancing is quite key for hot seats. In the single player game, it doesn't matter that much, because you can cheese the AI as much as you like. But anyway, that's what's been given. So essentially Denmark and what has been sort of become Denmark, Norway, or Kalmar Union based. Well, not Kalmar Union, because they don't control Sweden, so Denmark / Norway, essentially. So that's Denmark. They also control Revel, which has a mighty army inside. That's simply to stop them getting picked off by Teutonic Order and Novgorod in the hot seat. Now moving down to the HRE, as you can see, they control a big swathe of the western side, southwestern side of the map, which is all this part. Magdeburg is a capital, and we've got quite a big sizable army over in Prague, and HRE is still very powerful. Moving over to Poland, which controls a bit more of the map around this area. And up to about here where the Mongols are. Thorn is... No, what's the capital? I think it's... That is Krakow. I thought it was. So this is Poland, as you can see. Very nice. Got some citadels, and the settlements have obviously been pushed up, upgraded a bit more to accurately represent the 1250s. Moving on to the Mongols. So as you can see, the Mongols have quite some big armies here. 2 full stacks. Ogadai, Kanzada, Gasatai. Very powerful, very good generals. Argadhun and Khan Kutun the Butcher. Now the player who's MT Explorer, he's currently playing the Mongols in the Teutonic hot seat. He's gonna have some great fun. I feel sorry for the other players. The whole reason these guys, you're probably thinking, oh, well, this is a bit overpowered. The Mongols having 4 stacks. That is to accurately represent the fact that the Mongols were a complete powerhouse. When the Mongols arrived in Europe and during the 1250s, the Mongols had no shortage of armies. If you're wondering, they don't get any like spawned armies that turn up at some throughout in certain turns. As far as I know, unless Merkel's going to correct me in the comment section, say they actually have a few stacks that come in later on, but I don't think they do. If they do, I think that's a little overkill with the Mongols. But with the Mongols, it's to represent how powerful they are, because they really are a powerhouse. Their capital is Kiev, and so as you can see, the Mongols are quite strong. Moving up to Lithuania, I'll go cover the Teutonic Order in a moment. Minsk, oh no it isn't, sorry. Vilnius is the capital. As you can see, so the so the Lithuanians can defend themselves from the Mongols, kind of. They've been given a bit like 3, and everywhere else, they've been given about 3 stacks around. So the Lithuanians have a bit of strength if Novgorod and the Mongols and everyone decide to come at them. So yeah, that's the Lithuanians. They got up to here. Now, the Teutonic Order isn't actually as big, and I think it's really just to balance them out. Because the Teutonic Order, if you'll remember very well, the Teutonic Order infantry and cavalry is extremely overpowered. In a campaign I did as Denmark on the base Teutonic DLC, not with this mod, the Teutonic Order absolutely wrecked my armies because it was so bloody overpowered. I think, especially in the when you were fighting them manually, they were very overpowered. In an auto resolve, they're not that overpowered. It all comes down to how good your troops are against them. But as you can see here, they have about half a stack roughly, so you can muster about a full stack here, and that's about it. And then up here in Riga and all this bit, the Teutonic Order doesn't have much of a military. The main military they find is in Riga with half a stack. And that's the Teutonic Order. As you can notice, Sweden controls Finland up here as well. Novgorod is quite big. They have Novgorod obviously as their capital, with about a full stack inside. Narva is a fort. Narva was actually held by Denmark in the Teutonic DLC vanilla one, but they've been given that to Novgorod. How historical this mod is, I don't 100% know. Like, I may seem like I've done loads of stuff in this mod, but honestly, I don't actually have much of a clue. All I know is information that Murgle supplied with me, and that's literally it. I haven't really asked him. I should have really spoke to him a bit more thoroughly about it and learned some more, but I just decided not to. But, oh well. I don't really care. I'm not really like a lead developer of this mod. I mean, I put it on ModDB just to show it off, really, and that's it. Just to publish Murgle's work to the public, really. But yeah, it's Novgorod, as you can see, quite strong. But yeah, as you can see, I do really like this mod. I think it's great. I think it really makes the Teutonic DLC much, much better. Sweden, I think I would probably give my final thoughts now, to be honest. My final thoughts is, I don't mean to be rude to anyone or discredit anyone's work, but Norway should be given a Swedish banner and be renamed Sweden. Obviously, this is just what I would say, or what I would want, and what I would recommend, or what I would like to happen. Obviously, I don't expect Merkel to actually do it at all. I'm just listening my thoughts, really, and my final thoughts. So Norway should probably rename to Sweden. Denmark, I don't know if there is a Kalmar Union script in this, but if there is, Denmark should be Denmark and Sweden. If Denmark wipes out Sweden and takes Finland and takes all the Swedish regions, then Norway and Denmark should be able to form the Kalmar Union. Or vice versa if you're playing in Sweden and wipe out Denmark. So I think that should be a cool little script that should be popped in. Denmark really should be called Denmark-Norway, considering they control this as well. It kind of makes sense for them to call them Denmark-Norway instead of just being called Denmark, but they call Denmark, but they control Norway. So, so I think that might be a bit more clarification there. The only, in terms of diplomacy, Teutonic and Lithuania are the only ones at war. So, essentially, war, essentially it's very neutral at the very beginning, apart from the War of the Teutonic Order and Lithuania, or the Teuton-Lithuanian War. I suppose is probably a better title for it. Now obviously on to factions that I'd probably play if I were to be given a choice, and this is just when I say this, when I say my final thoughts on what faction I would play, I don't mean I will be playing this faction immediately. I don't mean I will be playing. I may not even be playing this faction at all, or playing these factions at all. It's simply just who I'd play if I had a choice and if I wanted to. So yeah. I would choose, and obviously some of you may know my love for the Teutonic Order and how much I love the faction and love the beautiful looking Ritterbrüder units, but I would actually play Lithuania. I know it's not because I have like 3 stacks and I could probably kill a lot of people. It's simply because I find that Lithuanian faction very interesting. One thing they can do, unless he's changed it for this faction, unless he changed it for this mod, is that Lithuania can go from pagan to Christianity, or stay as pagan, which is a cool little event I like. It reminds me of the Man of the Mountains campaign, and in that campaign you can sort of change culture to host the West, Melkor, or just their own culture. And I probably would play Lithuania, because I think it would be a pretty hard faction. You got the Mongols down here with all their armies, Poland to the southwest, Teutonic Order around you, and then obviously to the east you got the power of Novgorod. So I think I'd probably play Lithuania, because I think it would generally be kind of fun. And difficult, because you're the only faction in the game that has pagan. Let me see if he's done something. No, I really wish he'd, what he'd done is another final thought I would say. Change the Mongol religion to bloody pagan, or just pagan. It would be so much better than Islam. I just don't agree with that. But I think in 1250, I think some of the Golden Horde, or the Mongols, should be called, should be like Islamic. I mean, some converted to Islam, I believe. That's another thing. Change the Mongols to the Golden Horde, and their name. That would be a bit better, I think. Other than that, I don't really. Maybe Republic of Novgorod. I mean, you could call these factions, and this is just me being picky, like Kingdom of Sweden, Kingdom of Lithuania, Kingdom of Denmark, Republic of Novgorod, or Kingdom of Poland, and something like that. That's just me being picky. But that's what I would say. And now this, I don't think this will be very soon. But I would like to play Sweden as well, just because it's Sweden and it's just Norway you can't really play as normally. And I just think it would be fun to play as Sweden. Now I wouldn't play this very soon, because not long ago I did a campaign on Denmark. When I went to, and I did the Kalmar Union script. So I probably wouldn't do that straight away, considering I probably wouldn't do that for a very long time. Because I overlap myself as playing when I played as Denmark, so probably wouldn't do that for a while. But so the 2 factions I'd say I'd play as Sweden and Lithuania. The rest of the factions don't interest me, or the other factions I end up playing in another mod or just something else later on. But those are 2 factions I would say I'd play. But that is pretty much it, really. There's not really much else I can say. It's quite a small little mod, really. Even though I've gone on a little longer than I probably should have, but it's not really. I mean. It's not, I'm trying to fit it in the bit, because there's not really much else I can say. But, yeah, that's literally it, and this is probably the final video I'll ever made on the Teutonic, Enhanced Teutonic Patch mod. In future mods, I doubt I will be putting on ModDB. I'd just essentially be putting them in my Google Drive, and then putting the link to it in the video or something. You'll see what happens there. But I doubt I'll be putting any more mods on ModDB from here out. But it's a nice little experience, and a nice little test to see if, see how ModDB works for me, because I've always been very curious of how ModDB works. I just only noticed that they had another region there. But yeah, I was very curious with ModDB, and I wanted to try putting a mod on there and see what it'd be like, and see what the reception is like. The reception itself has been quite good. A lot of people love the mod, and I hope I'm happy to see that. Mergor is, I'm sure, very grateful. But yeah, the receivement has been pretty well. I think it's got about 1,000 views on the ModDB site, which is great. I think about 60 something downloads we're on now, so that's pretty good. That's wonderful to see. There is actually another patch I'm doing on ModDB while we're on the subject of ModDB, and that is the Westeros Total War Dream of Spring, like official patch thing, whatever we're doing for that. And that's simply just, I mean, making that just for a hot seat, really. But that hot seat sort of just died because I ended it because we weren't getting enough players, so I just sort of gave up with it. So that's another thing that I think I'm not exactly really working on it. It's just there as a side project, so don't expect a release date for that in for a good couple months, or just because it's something just whenever I feel like doing it. I may not even continue it. I don't really know, but it's just there anyway. But that is all for now. This mod is great. Give it a go. The link to the download is in the description of the video, so just go there. And if you're having trouble with installing this mod, simply go to the installation guide that I posted about a week ago, and you'll find a link to the installation guide on the ModDB site as well as on my YouTube channel. Just look for the installation guide playlist, installation guide, and mod preview playlist, and you'll find it all there. But anyway, that is all for now. I hope you guys enjoy this mod, and I will see you all in the next video. Farewell.